Hi, this is Tactical Reserves. I'm Brinks.
I'm Zach.
I'm Troy.
And I'm Chad.
And this week we're going to be discussing the new codexes and models. So what have you guys been doing in hobbying this week? Zach, start with you.
Not a lot on the hobby front for me this week. I got plasma dudes, so I can... Well, I don't know if I got those last week and put them on the podcast or not. Either way, I got a bunch of plasma I'm working on. So I can play like 17 plasma guardsmen.
I'm ready to see that.
Yeah, I am too.
And is it safe to say you're kind of on the guard train right now, a little bit?
I mean, I found that guard's pretty efficient at killing Marines, so I'm leaning more into guard right now. I've pretty much figured out my custodes list, so there's not a whole lot of tinkering to do.
Makes sense. What about you, Troy?
I worked on basing my Death Guard a little bit. I didn't do a lot of hobbying this week.
Yeah. Chad?
I did a ton of hobbying this week. I got the magnets. The magnets came finally, and my entire army is now magnetized, and they're in the really useful boxes. And it's the best idea I ever had. Some of the magnets, I need to go back through and sand down some of the magnets so they glue better to the bottom of the bases, but my entire army that I play with, my current army, fits in one tub instead of 4 foams. So it's just insane.
Yeah, it looks good. He brought it to you today. It's cool.
I got my Devastator squad in the mail too. So now I have to put them together and dig through Zach's entire box of bits to find 2 more grav guns, which that's going to be an adventure because I have no clue what they look like. So I'm going to have some help, but I'm going to do it just to make them all proper.
We're going to go through the bid spin again.
Yeah, we're going through the bid spin again. And I painted a little on my drop pod this morning, actually. So
right on.
It'll be blue by next week.
I did not do any hobbying this week, actually. I got my obliterators in, though, and I ordered the rest of the paint to start the new army paint scheme. So next week, there shall be hobbying, because there was a tournament in Indy this weekend, and I don't want to miss the next one. So my goal is to have my Chaos Army tabletop ready in the next 3 weeks, assuming everything shows up. But yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and move on to games played this week. We didn't have a lot of games. Troy's back to work. I've got some personal life stuff going on. Anvil is only going to be here every other week now because he's back to work. So it was basically Zach and Chad putting in a lot of reps this week, it seems like. So we don't really have a game of the week to discuss, but I think we decided we're going to touch on Zach and Chad's Guard versus Ultramarines game. So yeah, we can go ahead and you guys can take it away on that one.
Go ahead, give them your list, because it's the best thing ever.
This was a more casual version than they usually play, just for the record.
Yeah,
his list was.
Yeah, Chad, full sweat.
No plasma dudes.
There was no plasma dudes in this one. It was basically all vehicles, because I really wanted just to play as many of my tanks as I could. So I did a patrol and a spearhead. I had 1 company commander, a tank commander with all plasmas and a las cannon, 1 infantry squad, 2 mana cores, both with the tank aces for the full payload, 1 chimera, 2 more tank commanders with the demolishers and the heavy bolters, and a hull flamer. Hull flamer across every single vehicle right now because the heavy bolters are poop. So might as well just take the flamer, because if anybody gets close, you don't want to deal with it anyway.
It was rather annoying.
2 hellhounds, 2 basilisks, demolisher regular Russ, a punisher regular Russ, and that was the list. So it was just all armor. It looked great on the table. It was fun to play.
We'll put a picture up on the Discord, because it looked awesome on the table, that's for sure.
But it was a super casual list. I chose terrible secondaries. I was mostly just trying to find out how efficient I could be at killing Marines. And mana cores with the full payload at -2, strength 10. So if you're going to play guard against Marines, you have to be able to kill eradicators efficiently. Demolishers are good at it. Mana cores are insane at it. If you get to go first as guard and they deployed 2 out of the 3 squads of eradicators, you can probably just kill them with the 2 mana core shots. And if you don't,
Oof.
you have the backup for Basilisk, and if you roll decent with Basilisk, you can still take out some number of them. So it's just like really, really powerful. And then after you get your demolishers into range, you can kill pretty much anything in the game. Tank commanders with demolisher cannons are insane. They're still insane.
Well, that's good to know. So don't lose hope, guard players.
The strength 10 mana core with the flat 3 damages and no need for line of sight is really, really good.
Wound on 2, take 3 damage.
Well, and I mean, saying that it's a casual list and really you just lost on secondary choices. So even considering it casual, that's pretty potent.
I wouldn't call it a casual list because it is like all armor. Like it's super.
The only casual
niche.
part is no dudes.
Right. Like I didn't optimize secondaries. Like the gun, like all the vehicles were pretty well optimized for what I wanted to try out.
Yeah.
But all flamers across the board is pretty good. That way you don't get tagged. Like if you can shoot them in combat. If you get tagged and if you're going to play armor, just green armor, you need to be able to shoot. That was the plan with the Punisher tank. Is like even if you wrap it up, it still gets to shoot
a ton of shots,
a billion shots. But it just got shot off the board because I had to run it out front.
Yeah. Well, and there's just
against Marines, that's probably the worst. But you still get to shoot 40 shots that they have to make 3 of saves on if they're not in cover. So it's not like the worst, but it's not great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of firepower coming my way.
I mean, what'd you play this week, Chad?
I played, it was Ultramarines, it had 1 spearhead, 1 patrol, so I could have 2 captains. 2 captains, one with the hero of the chapter stratagem, Iron Resolve, to give it an extra wound, and a 6-up Feel No Pain. He also had the Sancta Halo, so he had a 3-up Invulnerable and a Psyker Deny, which was irrelevant against Zach, but it was there anyway. And then he had a Thunder Hammer jump pack. 3 intercessor squads. The other captain just had a Storm Shield Thunderhammer and the Shield Eternal, which he has a 5-up Feel No Pain against mortal wounds. Again, irrelevant against Zach, but I'm not going to change my list based on who I'm playing. And then a Devastator squad in the drop pod, 3 Eradicator squads, a Relic Leviathan Dreadnought with 1 Hunter Killer, and Thunderfire Cannon, and Bobby G.
Nice. How'd it feel? Have you found any issues with the list? It seems like you're staying pretty consistent.
I tweak here or there. I finally got rid of Storm of Fire as I was taking hero of the chapter on one of the captains for Storm of Fire, which says on a unmodified 6, it's an additional AP, but I have decent AP already, especially on turns 2 and 3 when I'm in the tactical doctrine on all my rapid fire and assault stuff. And I thought I would make it better and buff up one of my captains. Now he has 6 wounds and a Feel No Pain and a 3-up Invulnerable, and he's one of the ones that costs the most. So if I have to take While We Stand, We Fight.
Yeah, no, that seems good.
Because I get stuck in a bad secondary, he's really hard to kill, and Bobby's already hard to kill, and the Dreadnought's not easy to kill because it has a billion wounds. And, Duty Eternal, but I'm still tweaking a little, but I think this is
it's a pretty good list.
For Ultramarines, for Blue Boy Ultramarines with Bobby, this is really as close to optimal, I think, as I can get. I mean...
You still liking the Dev Bomb?
I do. Even when it comes...
It seems insane. I
haven't got it in an opponent's deployment zone, and I haven't dropped it on turn 1 in the last, 4 games. But when it comes down to turn 2 and they get out, they don't have the penalty because they are moving, and they just delete something.
Yeah.
Just having 16 shots, and I gave the sergeant a Storm Bolter as well, so when he comes down, he's in rapid fire range as well. But just having that many shots, and when they came down next to Bobby G, then I spent 1 on Gravic Amplification stratagem, so they reroll all hits, all wounds, and all damage. So they're going to delete whatever they target on that turn. It's worth the less than 200 points total it is.
Yeah, seems good.
Because my Devastator squad's only 115, the drop pod's 68, so it's 183 points total. I mean, that's less than...
I wouldn't mind having that on for 180 some points.
And if one of them, even if one of them lives, like, because they get targeted immediately, after they delete something the next turn. But even if one of them lives, it's still heavy 4 -3. I mean, it's still
It's rolling.
one of them can still delete something on the next turn. But
Right on.
again, the Eradicators have been the unit I'm just so on the fence about. When they work, they are just insane, and when they
The thing you got to ask yourself is if you cut the points for Eradicators, what are you going to put in that's more
and
threatening?
I really don't. Nothing's more threatening.
I think the key is, like Aaron said, they're threatening. Like, yeah, they're not gonna perform every game, but if people just ignore them, then they will.
I mean,
And right now, everybody just knows they have to kill them. Like
Yeah.
Zach knows that's the Bando's
like
army.
in this game,
Well, yeah, I mean, he spent, what are they? They're 3 wounds apiece, so he spent 12 wounds. I mean, he dealt 12.
he spent
Wounds, or 12
700
damage,
points.
12
of his,
wounds,
he
yeah.
spent 700 points of his army dealing with 240 points of my
Yeah,
army on the
That's-
first turn.
That's not true.
I don't know how much your
The
ultimate
mana cores are 150
Yeah,
points
mana
with
cores are
100 kill muscle. And you pay a CP to give them flat 3 damage, and that's all you need to kill.
Yeah. Your list is particularly efficient at it, but generally,
Well,
like,
it has to be, because if not, then it would be card would be unplayable, which is what I thought when Eradicators first came out.
Yeah,
I
You just had to find a better way to kill them.
I could have spent a command point and deep struck them.
I think you should probably deep strike at least once.
one squad.
I think, I mean, I don't
they're
know.
5
I'm on the deep strike train still right now.
They're
Like,
5 power levels, so that means one command point I can deep strike one squad. So I mean,
I think it's 1 in 9, so you have to pay 2.
I could,
I think one's fun.
yeah,
One
even
post.
even 2. I mean, I can maneuver the relics around where I can start with. I could play with stuff where I could start with 11 or 12 CP still, and even deep striking 2, I still start with 10 or 9. Which
yeah.
is great. For me.
The problem with deep striking too is if you go first, you don't have as much firepower to actually kill something.
Yeah,
But deep striking 1 guarantees that you get to drop in and kill something.
they're
with
gonna
that
kill
one
something.
squad.
Yeah. That's fair.
And you can do that with grabs too. So your turn 2 deep strike that you've been doing would be super devastating.
Bring them, the grab bomb, and a captain all down with a bubble. Re-roll everything. I mean, plus if they come down out of deep strike, they're going to be 9 inches, which means that's less than half. So they get the.
Well, they are going to be on table edge, though.
Yes, they do have to come in on table edge if they come from tactical reserves. Or strategic reserves. Not tactical reserves. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I don't know. Something to think about. I'm still like the bulk. Right now, I'm deep striking all of my Terminators and my Obliterators and a Captain. And I'm just planning on doing a beta strike. I'm trying to answer my opponent's deep strike, and then I just can't afford to lose the models. So, I've seriously considered just if the Scarab Termies didn't require them to not have moved when they come out, or to shoot twice, I would deep strike them as well and just do nothing on turn 1 but screen. But
But like
you have to have 50% of your points.
on the table.
On the
So,
table.
I think it's
Yeah.
points this time. It changes like every 6 months, but yeah, I think it's points right now.
Because I have to be super careful with Custodes doing that, because my 1 squad of Terminators is 700 points. My 1 squad of Bikes is 500 points, so you have to do the little squad of Terminators.
So
Yeah,
because
well,
you
so
can't do
you-
a ball.
yeah, I can see that.
When I played Death Guard, I had almost exactly 1,000 off the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had 985 or something off the table.
It was close.
something
awesome.
crazy.
So what would you change about assuming you were like, I'm going to continue this tank list, what would you change after playing your game?
Yeah.
I don't think mono tanks is where you want to be.
Yeah.
And I probably would just cut the 2 Basilisks and play the 3rd Mana Core and take the D3 with that, just to have more strength 10.
Seems good. No plasma squads? You wouldn't just throw some infantry in there?
Like, that's probably what you ought to do, is cut the 2 Basilisks and play more infantry.
3 more squads of guardsmen or something like that.
Move up to a battalion instead of a patrol, but I don't know. The plasma guys are, because you can take 2 command squads with all plasma and 3 special weapon squads with all plasma for 9 power level, and a company commander for 9 power level.
So 1 CP to deep strike all that?
You can deep strike or strategic reserves all that,
Yeah.
and then it's not as good as a dev bomb, but it's still pretty good. And what I was doing is I was making that company commander that goes there, my warlord. He gets to give 2 orders a turn. Then you give him the relic. You don't give him a warlord trait because that's going to your mana court. But you give him the relic to, on a 4-up, he can give an additional order to the exact same squad he just ordered. So you give him the order to reroll 1s to hit. And then on a 4-up, you can give him the reroll 1s to wound.
Oh,
and you just always overcharge them because you don't care if they die. Right. And then you're wounding regular-ass Primaris Marines on 2s, rerolling 1s.
Woo!
And then
On a 4-up if you get that.
Yeah,
And
but still, that seems
the command squads are the 2 squads that you give the orders to because they hit on 3s. So it's like the other squads hit on 4s because they're normal guardsmen.
Yeah.
But
even the
so that's a pretty good drop.
That sounds like very good.
It's pretty good. That's why I bought all the plasmas so I can get some more of that going on. I think that's probably where you want to be and play like 60 guardsmen instead of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only other thing I would think about my list is even if I could cut 1 Eradicator squad for an Inceptor squad of 3, but we've talked about it enough that and I think I agree with Zach's take on this. A squad of 3 isn't going to delete anything. That needs to be a squad of 5 when they're coming down to have the 30
that
shots.
Was always my
delete 10 guardsmen.
It doesn't. 3 Inceptors doesn't delete 10 guardsmen. It should kill 10 guardsmen. But if you roll
30 shots instead of 18, you're definitely gonna get what you want.
You need at least 1 additional dude just to make sure that you get there. I roll plenty bad enough to where I'm like, oh, Matt says I should kill these guys, and then you don't. And you're
But 3 for 3, that
then they get shot off
points
the
are the
board.
same.
Yeah.
Because then I could do deep strike shenanigans where I do deep strike both Eradicator squads and the Dev Bomb and a Captain and the Inceptors, and I have some stuff on the table that I can hide, and then turn 2, it's pierce the other half of my army,
Yeah.
But without our choosing a poor secondary, Zach probably wins handily. I don't beat him by 3 because he gives me 30 points because he didn't get any secondaries, but I'll take the W.
Yeah. Dub's a dub.
So you've been playing Hull Flamers a few games now, right? Yeah. Do you like them better than Heavy Bolters if Heavy Bolters did 2 damage?
Do they? It's a good question. Are they
the spawns
annoying?
I know they're better than regular Heavy Bolters right now.
What's the points on each? The Heavy Bolters are 15, right?
They're both
the same.
They're both 15.
That's why
Okay.
I'm doing it.
I wouldn't take Spons and Heavy Flamers right now on my tank commanders, but I still think tank commanders are efficient enough to where taking Sponsons is a good idea. So I already play Heavy Bolters there, but as far as hull mounted goes, it doesn't change anything. You're going to be -1 to hit in combat with your Heavy Bolter that does 2 damage. If you get a hit in, it's great, but with everything being T5 anyway, now, you have to wound on 4s after hitting on 4s with your tank commander. You might kill intercessor. So I'd rather just be more efficient against not T5
Just
tanks.
take the hits and roll them
with
for
1 wound, and then the flamer can just, it doesn't matter what your AP or what your ballistic skill is. You don't get to shoot them as much, but I also hear that they're going to go to 12-inch flamers when the Heavy Bolters go up to 2 damage. And if they go up to 12-inch,
If that happens, there's no way I could have even. There's no way.
that makes them a lot more fun.
Yeah.
That army goes up a tier if they get 12-inch flamers.
I don't know if that's
That's not true.
But even on Basilisk and Manticores, I'm putting hull flamers on everything because you don't know if somebody's just going to come in and try to tag them up.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And the pot shots that Heavy Bolters get, I just don't think they're... the army doesn't have a problem killing stuff right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think making things more killy is going to make the...
Yeah, it answers the
More
question,
useful.
what happens if they touch me?
Right.
Far better than bolters do, so
Right,
I like that.
Getting some amount of bolter shots is meh.
No, I'm on the heavy flamer train
think I am
with it
too.
being the same points. So
Especially if they go up to 12 inches, like I've heard. That would be awesome.
That would be pretty good.
Would you switch out your Plasma Boys for some Flamer Boys?
No. Those guys are there to do one thing, and that is to blow themselves up.
They have no regard.
they are Astro Militarium.
As we said
at their
last
core.
week, can you overcharge? Yes. Should you overcharge? Yes. Do you have a reroll? Doesn't matter. Overcharge.
If you're
Your guardsman. That doesn't come up when you're playing Marines.
No.
If
you can overcharge, you overcharge, baby. Risk it for the biscuit.
Says the guy that plays Bobby G.
Yeah.
You got
All right.
up.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to, I guess, our Q&A.
Yep.
You want to get that started?
All right. Brandon W. via Twitter. What armies, tabletop-wise, is your main army afraid of and why? That's a great question.
I think right now, I still think my question mark is either Custodes or Astra Militarium. I think I actually have a pretty good match against Custodes now. As good as you can get against them. Because I've got a lot of high strength weapons that he can't reduce 1 strength and make them -1 to wound. They've got 3 AP, so they're always putting them into their invulns. But Astra Militarium, like my Terminators don't answer, my Scarab Terminators don't do anything. Like I'm wholly leaning on 2 units to answer that entire army. And that seems very difficult. Even with them in Deep Strike when they come out, assuming they perform at maximum like efficiency, they're going to kill 3 tanks. That's with Obliterators killing a tank and then shooting and killing a tank, and then the Plasma Terminators killing a tank. And that's the best case scenario, I think, in that situation. He could still probably have enough firepower to pretty handily clean up what's remaining. So that matchup has me pretty nervous. Other than that, though, I don't know. And with Necrons, I don't know. Necrons are tabled until the Codex comes out because so much is going to change, which we'll talk about. I actually saw some stuff from GW that's got me pretty excited for him. But I would say probably the Astra Militarium list Zach has, any variant of it is pretty annoying because Plasma's, I'm still playing Marines, so Plasma is still super good if he plays that version against me. Demolishers are super good. At least I have invulns to counter it somewhat, but it's a lot to answer. And with tank commanders making them -1 to hit via psychic powers isn't that relevant. They still hit on 4s, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it seems good. The list seems like a really hard answer, but I'd rather be able to answer Marines and Custodes right now than Astra Militarium, so I'll take that loss.
Sure. Yeah.
Zach?
I don't think Guard's particularly good in the metagame right now. Because there's a lot of Guard players out there, and they're not showing up in tournaments, really. So
yeah, it just answers the questions against my list really well, and there's just no way to adjust.
What's your list? What's your main list? If we say your main list is your main army's Custodes, what are they afraid of?
I don't know that they're terrified of anything. Like either army, to be honest, Guard or Custodes. Like I honestly don't know. Like I'm not terrified of anything. Like Custodes, I think would have a real big problem. My specific Custodes list would have a problem with 200 Gaunts, I think, because only the Terminators are efficient at shooting that kind of stuff. Like not everything else has got salvo launchers, so it's like kill 1 a turn and then melee a bunch. But I think if you brought like 300 models, I would have a real problem with Custodes. But I'm not terrified of that because I get to chop stuff up. Like, I'm not going to get tabled. No. I've not been tabled with Custodes yet, so I'm not real scared with anything there.
Yeah, the only trick would be they get into you first, and then you just can't get to objectives.
Right.
You lose on primaries, but I think that's what would be.
But nobody's doing that trick right now.
No.
Right.
Because it's so bad against Marines.
Yeah, there's plenty of other things in the meta that stomped on that, so it's not possible.
How's it feel to be your 2 armies are the ones that, don't really fear anything right now?
Well, I don't think Marines should be fearing too much either.
I don't.
Other Marines.
I mean, I'll go next then, because I'm scared of another Marine, the Salamanders list will just wreck me.
The Salamander list is pretty scary.
Or an army that has.
The resters aren't crazy against them.
No, they're efficient.
They're just more efficient than I am. I mean, it would be a battle I have to play, but I don't really want to sit down against other Marines. I want to be the Marine guy that plays everything else.
Yeah.
But it's a Marine meta, so you're most likely going to play against me.
Yeah, and I can hang my own, and then it's just this is going to be 50-50, and I beat the other stuff.
I think the Dreadnought actually gives you an edge in a lot of matches, especially if they're leaning on aggressors.
Yeah.
It just has to weather the Death Bomb Eradicator storm.
Yeah.
Which is difficult.
Which is hard, And like, I don't like playing against psychic powers. I know I beat them like 50%, but like, God, it just feels so unfair when half my stuff just dies to mortal wounds before I can. Like, they have a whole phase that I don't get.
You're allowed to bring psychics.
Sure, if I want to, not be able to take Abhor the Witch and cut good stuff for mediocre stuff, but like, I don't like playing against psychic power. I think they a properly built list with a lot of, like, 1,000 Suns wrecks me. I think AP against me is just awful. Everything just dies. And it turns out flat 3 damage against me is really good too, because everything just dies.
Yeah, there's not a lot of that floating around. So
like, guard or something with efficient psychic power is what scares me the most.
But you, Troy.
As a demon player, there's like 1, maybe 2 shooting units in my codex. The Tau scares the crap out of me. I have to get in close, and it's not going to happen, and it's not going to be good. And they're just going to shoot their whole army at me before I even get there. And then probably in Overwatch too. And like, the drones means you can't really like pave the way with psychic powers or anything like that. So Tao's Tao's my boogeyman.
I can see that.
We don't have a lot of Tau around here. I haven't really played against him much, so I could be just.
We had a guy with a perfectly good Tau army that decided to build 17 other armies instead of just play his Tau army.
Yeah. So they're the ones, like, I might have just built them up in my head as just, I'm never going to beat, but they're the ones that give me the biggest.
EBGBs.
Yeah. And then as Dark Eldar, it's basically everything. Like, the vehicles is rough with as much poison as I have in my army. And I've been toying around with not playing Talos, but every time I play against, like, tanks or, dreadnoughts or anything, I go back to, man, I wish I had my Talos, because they're like the only thing in my army that attacks vehicles. So heavy vehicles, so but Marines don't seem that bad, from what I can tell.
Right on.
Taos.
I guess
Every army I play, Taos is my biggest nightmare.
That was a good question, Brandon. So keep stuff like that coming. All right. Leighton V from the Tactical Reserves Facebook page. I've recently gotten into 40k lore. Is there any lore that makes you excited or want to play a certain faction?
Honestly, no. Like, no offense to any lore players. I feel like
you're not big into lore, are you?
Like 40k lore to me is like mall cop shit, like silent shotguns and just like ridiculous shit. Like, it's fun to read about in a comical way, but I'm never like, I don't know. It's so like 80s hair metal version of.
Yeah, this is when it came around.
I know, but it's still that way. It's just not my thing. I think I would have to go through like so many books and understand so much before I get into the lore, because there's so many questions that, like, it's like there's so many inside jokes when you try to read about lore and you just go down this like wiki link rabbit hole, and I just get frustrated. So no.
That's the thing, is like, we're pretty new to the game. The game's been around like 25 years, and there's 25 years of like lore, and we've only been playing for like a year and a half, maybe.
Like the new book.
It's like,
We've been playing longer than that.
Yeah, like 3 years.
Yeah.
But the new book has 170 pages of lore in it.
Yeah, but there's like, what, 40 of those Black Library books or more? Like, it's just, where do you start? How do you get in? Like, yeah, there's some cool stuff, but I actually like Mortarion more as the model than I do in the lore. Like, he's kind of meh, but his model's sweet.
I read Bobby G's lore. He's as badass in lore as he is on the table. His sword's on fire.
He got punked.
His sword's on fire.
He was dead for like half of whatever.
Yeah.
He came back.
Baby back bitch.
He's fine.
So
had to have Cole work on him.
Sword's still on fire. It's good.
So does anybody know why they say Magnus did nothing wrong?
I do, but it's a pretty long story.
Oh, well, never mind. Tell me
We'll talk about that later.
Like, I don't even know that. I started going down that rabbit hole, and I was like getting the entire history. I was like, what is...
Well, that's what I said. It's a long story. Anything in Warhammer is
It's
a
not
long
true.
story.
He was wrong.
No, he was.
We're not doing this.
He didn't know
We're not
he was
doing
wrong.
Is
this.
this going to go back into the Acadia thing? And
It's all about intentions, and he didn't intend to be wrong.
As most people don't.
For me, though, I got into Blood Angels because I started reading books. I read Devastation of Baal was my first ever 40k book, and I read that, and I got Tyranids and Blood Angels. So yeah, I can see where that would happen.
So yeah, to answer your question, Zach totally just got sucked in by a book and bought those armies.
I think Zach's also the only one of us that's read one of the Warhammer books. I haven't got one.
I've read quite a few. I also read the newer ones. The
Custodes one.
No, well I have, yes, but that wasn't for the Custodes. It was the Ultramarines and Death Guard. I don't know. I was not impressed with either of those.
Yeah, see, I've done a few on Audible.
But that's all new stuff.
Yeah, I've done a few on Audible per Zach's suggestion, and it seems like the quality of writing is like so hit and miss. Like some of it's really good, and some of it's just like, whoa.
You need to go back and read the ones from like 1993.
Probably not. Those are the ones that I was having issues with.
Yeah.
They're a lot more slow paced.
Not enough action.
Not enough.
But supposedly we're getting a comic book soon, so.
Ask this question.
There we go.
There we go.
Give me some pictures, bro.
There we go.
Ask this question again a year from now, and we'll see if we have a better answer for you.
Don't get me wrong, I love audiobooks. It's just the Warhammer lore, like, there's not really a good beginning to start at, so it's like,
I like
it's just insane.
the overall like idea of the lore. Like you'd pick that up,
Sure,
from the codexes and stuff. So like, it's a cool universe and stuff, but I've not sat down and been like, oh man, these guys are awesome. You see these guys in some of the groups just arguing over who's the best Primarch. Like,
Yeah, I very much
model, so
like when I decided to play Warhammer. I didn't go, what army has the coolest lore? I went, what army does the thing that like I want to do in Warhammer, and I bought that.
But I also think that's a fine way to do it. If you do like the lore and if you love orcs or whatever, just jump in. Because like we said before, a lot of this is just painting your models and what you like, and if you like that army, you like that lore, jump right in.
Yeah, I would argue that that's a better way to get into the game.
Well, like I've been leaning into World Eaters lately. I've been really wanting to try it. I like the idea of the Berserkers with 2 limbs. Like I'm like, this seems good. So I went to look into the lore, and Ingron, he's not appealing. I'm not a fan. So I'm like, okay.
But you got
I needed a little something to get me going on it, and I was just like,
he was looking for a push over the edge, and he went the wrong way.
Karn's sweet.
Zach's like, GW, just give me one reason.
Right. I was just like, I need reason. Give it.
Oh gosh!
Ow.
There goes my camera.
So yeah, Troy's just killing people.
I didn't even know there was a camera up there.
No. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
We'll take care of that later. Drew blood. Oh my god.
No, I didn't jump.
All right, next question.
Adam M from Indy 40K. So, question for the painters here. So I won't answer this one. Has anyone built their own paint storage racks? If not, how do you store all your paints?
Abel actually 3D printed us these amazing shelves that work great.
Yeah.
He just pretty much printed 1 million of them.
Yeah,
That's
they're awesome. I will say
we all store our paints, right?
Pretty much.
I will say I was looking for some specific. I'm looking for like the jeweled style technical paints from GW. So I went to that game place here in town to check, and they've got these like 3D printed paint racks that like hold 3 straight up and down, but they've got different heights, so it can hold the big bottles and the medium and the small bottles all in one.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool. Yeah. And they were only like $2.
He asked this question, and somebody replied with like a big rack that they built that can hold up to like 370 things. And you can build it for like $40, but you need the certain tools and the metal and everything.
I've seen a couple times in the Facebook groups people had the actual like metal rack does for sale. I was like, man, that would be nice.
I think our racks have 9,
12.
12.
Yep.
Yeah.
4
Which
rows
is
of-
not nearly enough. Like once you start painting for a while, you're gonna have 6,000 paints. It feels like.
But you can make those.
But I got mine. I have like 5 of those 12 racks, and I can put like all my Custodes colors on one. So if I'm painting Custodes, I take that one out of my hobby room and where I'm painting.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're also pretty portable.
Yeah, they're really light. They're portable.
I wouldn't want to carry them like through an airport or anything. But
No.
From around the house, you're all right.
Yeah.
They stack upside down on each other too. So if you have a bunch of them, you can reverse them so they take up less space.
You can put them in the Discord pictures of them while we're looking at them.
Yeah.
I'm sure you found the prints for them somewhere on.
Yeah, probably Thingiverse or something.
If Emil was here, he would tell you.
He would tell you where
So if you want to message him or we'll get you the answer.
Yeah, but they're great. We'll post pictures. They're the best thing.
Right.
We all use them.
We all use the same thing. So.
Yep.
All right, James V from Warhammer 40,000. What's your setup for spray painting and/or priming models?
Like I do all of my spray work actually outside.
Yeah.
As far as that goes, and as far as materials go, I just use like Lowe's primer that works with plastic and stuff, so it won't damage it, and I've had no issues with that. That's pretty much it. I wanted to get a booth on my table for hobby night. That way it's well lit and everybody could see. But I read about the fans being a little bit loud, so I'm not sure about that.
I use a cinder block with a piece of plywood on it. That's how I spray paint.
Yep.
I have like a dowel rod or whatever when I do Marines, or just regular troops, and sometimes I'll tape them on there so I can get all the way around. But lately I've just been going outside.
Pro tip: just put your hand in a baggie if you're gonna hold a model and paint it. Boom.
Yeah.
No painted fingers.
No, this is so I can do like 10 at a time though.
Yeah.
Get all the way around.
Yeah, I definitely wear a rubber glove.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you guys, I just go with black hand for a day or two.
Yeah, I have a longer stick that you double-sided tape the models to if you're just hold it out and spray paint them, or like
I definitely hold them like a heathen.
Yeah,
piece
I
of
do.
piece of cardboard and
I
spray
put my
paint.
tanks on a piece of plywood on top of a cinder block, and I've been down.
There you go. Yeah, that's pretty much how to do it.
That's how
There
I
you
do
go.
the bigger stuff is I just hold it.
However you want, just everybody.
No,
Outside in a well-ventilated area.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have anything super cool.
no fancy setups here.
Yeah. Kyle Z from Warhammer 40,000. I just can't fathom how people can paint so fast. Some even under an hour. Yet still so good. I, however, need half a day to paint a grunt to mediocre level. How can I get faster and not make it look awful?
Practice.
Yeah, I think that's just reps, dude. I would agree with Troy.
Don't get lost in the detail on grunts.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah.
What
They don't
I
have to look great. They just have to be done.
Yeah, what I do is, getting good with an airbrush will save you a lot of trouble too.
Airbrush is the real trick, yeah.
Yeah, but I just, with my models, like, I'll spend quite a while on one model getting the paint scheme right, and then once I've got my paint scheme, I'll lay out and do like 10 at a time. And you'd be surprised how fast it goes when you start lumping.
When you know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
All lead belcher
When you
here,
have a
all
game
gold
plan.
here, all...
Yeah. It's just taking the time to figure out that first
If you
one.
really want to crank out some models, you got to sit down, you got to focus, because I know when I paint, it's real easy to just be like, oh, that needs to dry, and go do stuff for like an hour or whatever.
Overwatch.
Hey, man.
You just go to the next model.
I painted 40 guardsmen after I put them together, painted them, and that sucked balls. So my next 40, I sprayed the sprues, the base coat, and then painted as much of the models as I could in pieces, and then clipped the sprues and glued them together and then touched up. And that made my models look a lot better because I wasn't trying to get my brushes down in there to try to get paint armor across arms and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and that's just guardsmen. So if you're doing something like custodes or maybe not so much Marines because they're all the same fucking color. Something else is a little bit more elaborate. You might not put your model all the way together when you start painting. That way you can paint everything. If you're trying to go for like higher quality stuff,
You can do like partial
because you
build,
lose a
like,
lot of
section
time
together.
spinning that model around trying to get your brush into the right.
I agree.
Yeah.
I can save a lot of time painting them on this sprue. For sure.
You save a lot of time by giving them the anvil.
Man, he has an airbrush.
But I
I'm all
wouldn't.
blue.
I wouldn't get too lost in your main line. Like if you're doing guardsmen, don't spend a lot of time on them. Nobody cares what they look like, as long as they're all basically the same and they look decent. And it's just armor, flesh tone, whatever your pant color is, and dip them in a wash. You're done.
You're good.
They look plenty good enough.
All right. Stevie S via Twitter. Thoughts on the made-to-order action figures? So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but
I actually haven't.
I have.
Games Workshop now has made-to-order action
They're
figures.
like 1/5 scale or 1/8 scale.
Yeah, they're like
8th scale, I think.
8 to 12-inch action figures, and you can make to order. Right now, it's just Marines.
Of course.
Yeah.
I was like, if
But
it's still just Marines, I'm like, whatever.
It's just Marines, but you can order whatever faction you want, intercessors.
Yeah,
and
they
stuff like
spray them.
The real question
Yeah,
is-
they just.
that. Yeah, of course.
The real question is, what does a 1/8 scale Magnus look like?
That's too big.
I honestly don't have any opinion. I've not even seen pictures of this.
They're super
I didn't know it
dope.
was a
I
thing.
love the detail.
I've
It's
seen the
insane.
one Marine they put out already. Like, he's cool. If we're gonna get other stuff that's not Marine.
I thought I saw a guardsman somewhere.
Yeah, the theory is they're going to start doing them a little bit at a time. Troops from every army.
So we're just
pretty
going to
complicated.
get 2,000 points of those guys.
I mean, we need a bigger table.
That would be
That'd
insane.
be like a Gen Con thing where they show up with just the whole room with huge Marines.
So that they did something like that with Magic at Gen Con because they had the huge cards.
Yeah.
And they just had like teams on each
Well,
side.
Gen Con, at least in the past, they've done one where you bring your Warlord Titan and they do a big game of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the whole room is the floor.
It's Knights and Warlord Titans
Yeah.
and
Like
stuff.
the Knights of the troops.
So
Oh, it's crazy, dude. They take up like the entire
Yeah, it's like
top
one of those
story of
conference
this
rooms,
house.
and they just put the floor is the table. They put terrain down.
That'd be cool.
I mean, I'll take a whole
Can you
squad.
imagine tripping and like falling on
Oh
a table?
no!
Because you see people walking around.
Yeah, no,
Ugh,
no.
So sketch.
I would take a whole squad of 1/8 intercessors. That'd be sweet. Just put them on a shelf or something. I think they look cool.
They
They
do.
look cool, but they're only Marines right now.
I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, you're
so,
the
but,
only Marine for that.
All right, Kevin T from Warhammer 40K. What is the best faction to start with for 500 point and 1,000 point games, and why?
Whatever faction you want to play.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to paint. That's the biggest part.
And find one that interests you.
Yeah, you're
You want the
really
best-
gonna have a bad time if you just build the best army because you're just gonna be forever be chasing
Yeah,
whatever's best.
We got like 9 questions this week asking about, hey, I'm new. What should I build? Hey, what's a good army for a new player? We get those a lot. So this is the one I like the best because I figured it would
You can
start
find-
this discussion.
You can find tier lists out there of what's the best army right now, but that's going to change every couple
Especially with codex releases.
months. Yeah, like, so right now they're going to change a lot real quick.
This is the best way to get in the game, in my opinion.
For
Like
sure.
500 points worth of something. Because
But
the
still-
starter kits come with like 500 or 1,000 points,
But still just find what you want to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just gotta like ask yourself, do you want to like run into shit? Do you want to shoot a specific do you want to shoot tanks or do you like Gundam looking vehicles?
Like, if you're just getting into 40k because all your friends play 40k, then and you have no interest in lore or paint,
Find out
but you
what.
just want to hang out with your buddies, like,
Find out
probably
what.
just buy Marines because
Or something,
They're good.
something
And
that
you can
nobody
paint
else
them
has.
You can paint them whatever color or a successor chapter.
it gives
and
you
just-
access to a whole lot of options, and you can find your niche. Like, I don't think everybody should play Marines, but if that's what you're doing,
Yeah, if you're in a big
Marines
squad.
is probably the best answer.
If you got like 10 people playing where everybody's a different army, just grab some Marine starter kit because they have 1 billion of them right now and learn the game with them. And then, once you learn the game, the base is the game, research other armies and then
Or
Yeah, I would just look for the lore or the
whatever interests you.
whatever looks coolest to you, model wise.
Or if you're doing 500 points, just grab a knight. Most 500 point armies can't beat a knight.
that's true.
Be that guy.
Be that guy. Get it?
Ironically, this kind of goes with our next question. Mark A. from Warhammer 40K. I'm being seriously tempted by Gene Stealer Cult as a possible army. Mainly due to me loving the look of their models. But I hear they are pretty bottom tier in 9th edition. Would you guys say that's right? And if it is right, would you buy them anyway?
Yes, I would buy them anyway.
Yes, and
yes, it's right.
Yes.
They're gonna get their codex. They'll get rebalanced.
they're
They'll be
not-
playable.
And they have army, like they can play Tyranids and they can play some amount of Master Military.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, they've got the ability to soup a little bit, and their models are cool, and they've got a cool aesthetic.
I think we answered a question like this last week where it was GSC or Orcs. That might have been a couple weeks ago. We all said
Oh, man.
Gene Stealer Cult because
Orcs are expensive.
Orcs are
man.
expensive and you need so many.
And Gene Stealer Cult, if you like to kit bash, it also lends itself really well to like fun kit bashes, which means it's super cheap to buy that army
But,
because you can just get guardsmen and do weird shit with them.
And you got the guys on motorcycles that are cool. Like it's got like a Mad Max aesthetic to it.
Yeah.
It's a cool army, and if you like it, like we said before, just
Eventually, things will come full circle. Every army has
They
its
were-
time in the spotlight.
they were low grade in 8th edition, and they got the Codex, and they became one of the best armies.
Yeah.
And then 9th edition came around. They're not low tier, just Marines do what they do better. So it's just kinda,
You kind of answered your own question as well, and this is the thing we've been harping on about all the new players. Like you said, mainly due to me loving the look of their models.
Yeah,
If
that's
you're in
it.
love with how they look and everything, I'm in paint them. You're going to want to do it.
Enough can't be said to where if you learn an army, like how to play it really, really well, you're going to beat 60% of the player base on skill level alone. Like, I feel like that's a conservative number. It's probably higher.
That's where I feel like I'm getting better at. I'm whittling down and memorizing what my army does.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm going to win some games eventually. Maybe not right now. I'm going to win more games because I just know my army so much better than...
Well, and if you know your army, you spend less time worrying about that, more time focusing on what your opponent's doing.
yes.
Correct.
So you can answer those questions better.
Like, I don't think any army is just unwinnable.
I
It's
agree.
going to be harder for some armies to win, but you still have a shot.
We
Yeah,
haven't seen
Warhammer has the distinct advantage of everything. Like unlike Magic, you're at the mercy of your deck when it comes to draws and stuff like that. And yeah, sure, you're kind of at the mercy of dice, but whenever you decide you're going to do a thing in Warhammer, you immediately have all those tools to do that thing at your disposal. So knowing how to do it efficiently and understanding what you're doing makes a big
And
difference.
Gene Stealer Cult and the Horde armies might be maybe bad right now, but like if you get really good with them, like if somebody who's that was their main army forever and they're just insane, and they show up and they just play it so much better than everything else, and like they just know all the stratagems and everything they can do, like it could beat a top tier player just because they know their army just so well. They're going to make every move right, every defensive strategy
Yeah,
right.
it's gonna be a lot harder to win than it would be with other armies, but I think it's still possible.
One thing I would suggest before you get into any army, really, is do a little research, find out which models are good. Because the start collectings and stuff won't always have good models.
Yeah,
You'll end up with stuff that you just,
it's like unplayable.
But
why do I have this?
But again, if you were in it just because the way they look, then
That's a good
buy
start.
whatever you want,
Yeah.
and that's a great.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a great.
But it is
don't wanna
an
be
expensive army, and you don't want to end up with a bunch of stuff that's just not good.
Correct.
Yeah, I did that my first round on Chaos.
Yeah, I think most people do that when they get in a game. That's why, because I did that.
Yeah,
I got Plague Marines standing around and never play.
All right, we
so they
are
go to 2 wounds.
here
Yeah.
now. This is the question that will lead to the topic of the week. Okay. What are your thoughts, reactions, predictions, and what would you like to see in the 4 leaked codexes, which are Blood Angels, Death Guard, Death Watch, and Space Wolves?
All right. Well, first off, that question's fundamentally flawed because they didn't mention all the awesome Necron shit. All right.
Or any Marine stuff.
Like the new Necron. Those are 3 Marines.
all Marines.
4
It's
Marines.
always-
Also
about it.
Marines.
God. I just want to. I'll be talking about Necron stuff because I actually have that army. You guys can talk about the Marine stuff a little bit more because I'm less excited about that stuff.
My thoughts are, I hope it comes fast, because this is 3 more codexes and Marines.
4 more. Space Wolves, Blood Angels, Death Watch, and there's one
Death Guard
more.
is chaos. You know, we'll get some.
Oh yeah,
we already know we're
there
gonna
was
get
Death
one new
Guard.
model.
Yeah, that was the 4th one.
So, but I hope they're all different, and these are just supplements to the big codex from what we've heard. So
Yeah.
Primaris Dante, out of Blood Angels. That's where I'm at. That dude's super old, and his rules are super bad, and his model's super old. Get that dude an upgrade. That's good.
and Gabriel Seth. We need new Gabriel Seth too.
They also did you see that they spoiled that they're the armory book for Forge World stuff?
Yeah, that one. Is
That's a big deal too.
Condenium or something.
Compendium.
Yeah.
They said that's gonna have everything in it. So if you want to play Forge World models, you got to pick that bad boy up.
Yeah.
And that'll be
So what are you excited about, Mr. Marine Boy?
The heavy guys are going to be sweet.
Heavy
Heavy
Devastators.
The heavy intercessors are going to be
Intercessors.
sweet.
Not the sweet looking land speeders.
but
These things look sweet.
That's what I'm more excited about. The Hammer Strike Land Speeder. There's 3 new Land Speeders, and it's the blurry picture from last year that everybody was talking about. Is this a new Land Speeder? Totally is a new Land Speeder with the 3 dudes. The dude in the turret, just his head sticking out, is what just makes the model look sweet. And I can't wait to get stat data sheets on them because they look so cool. But between that and the new captain with the heavy the Mastercrafted heavy bolt rifle. He looks really good too. And the heavy intercessors were just, and to get the codex, the actual codex. So like maybe Eradicators or the Blade Guard veterans will be able to go into squads of 6 or 5 or whatever. Like
I don't think Eradicators.
I think Death Watch getting impulsors would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Primaris Dante. Other than that, I don't give a shit.
Space Wolves, like if Space Wolves, like if they're gonna give them new models, like new Thunderwolf Cavalry would be sweet.
Yeah.
Primaris Thunderwolf.
Yeah, and now we're talking.
That sounds ridiculous. Yeah.
Maybe like a new Bjorn or a Murder Fang, you know, something. That'd be cool.
Space Wolves are just,
Even like a Primaris Murder Fang.
you can't go wrong with any dude riding a wolf. Like that just...
Space Wolves definitely a cool ass looking army. I'll give you that.
They're probably next for me. I think I've decided. Like, I'm going there next.
But they did spoil one Death Watch model, the Lord of Virulence.
Oh yeah,
and he looks bad.
He looks sweet.
He does.
He's got like a poisonous power fist and a double flamer. I like it.
And you know it's going to be the plague spitter tool or whatever, which is just going to be.
He's going to plague weapon all over the place, and he's got Lord in his name, so he's going to be doing something.
He's just going to bukkake the whole battlefield with plague.
Yep. Of the 4, yep, that's what he's going to do.
That's true. Of the 4 of the Blood Angels, Death Guard, Death Watch, Space Wolves, is there one that you don't care about at all? Like you think?
I don't care about the 3 Ultra or the 3.
The 3 Marines.
Yeah, I'm Death Guard. That sounds cool. Marines are just like, I'm tired of seeing information on Marines.
That's why
I am burnt out on Marines.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna get it.
And the problem is with Marines is they keep making them look all the same. They look like you could show me all these new models, and it's like, okay, that one they might be holding a different gun.
They did Blood Angels.
One has a random bone shield. Like,
I think there's a lot of potential for Blood Angels. Like, I know that they're all going to look the same, but it's like, are they going to Primarisify Sanguinary Guard?
That could be cool. That would be sweet, because Sanguinary Guard are actually pretty sweet. So I do like them.
Primaris Death Company that aren't just basic intercessors.
Like, are we finally going to get Primaris and jetpacks that aren't aggressive, like a melee Primaris jetpacks?
So, I'm a little excited for the Blood Angel one, I guess. Mostly.
How upset are you going to be when the next 2 after this are Salamanders and White Scars? Are you just going to tilt?
Those will be in the...
No, those aren't.
Yeah, those don't get their standalone.
They won't get one like that.
They might, but I think it would be a while.
I'm just, like I said, I am so exhausted with Space Marine stuff, man.
I think that's the point. They're just getting them all out the way first.
I think that's the feeling with a lot of people, though.
Yeah, but that means that they're not going to get anything for like 3 years after this. And like they could have just spread
Everybody's
it out.
tired of Marines. You said it. Everybody, the entire internet. After seeing this yesterday, the internet went aflame. Like half the people that play Marines are like, yeah, sweet, finally I'm getting a Blood Angels book, and every other person was like, why more Marines?
And
I'm tired of Marines. And
we talked about this in chat, and Zach was like, this is obnoxious. There's a lot of Marines. And I said, it is obnoxious if we get to Xenos and Chaos and stuff, and they don't get this kind of support.
With Xenos and Chaos,
like if we're getting this kind of support for every codex, I'm fine with it. It's fine, whatever. If it comes around Chaos time or Eldar time, and they get a bunch of recasts and new models and months of previews and stuff, fine, whatever. That's cool. I love it. But if we get here and here's your Eldar codex, have fun. Maybe one new plane or some shit. That's obnoxious. That's annoying.
Yeah, I think
the Marines didn't need this much support.
No, I don't. I think
a lot of new models.
I think that Eldar will probably get some like between the Drukhari and the Eldar.
Yeah,
I think they'll get a fair amount of their line updated. My concern is that they're going to gloss over demons yet again.
I mean, demons is an AOS army, and we have gotten a fair amount of new stuff, so they probably will actually like. If you look at demons in general, Keeper Secrets is brand new. All the big greater demons are pretty new model wise. So
yeah, I was listening to somebody talk about demons though, and they said basically the flaw of the demons codex
Oh, the codex
And
is not great.
Yeah, it's like all the troops are pretty much the same. They just have like one different like key thing about them, but they're basically all the same. The same goes for the elite slot. Like there's nothing unique about any of the models in the army.
And the stratagems
Are very vanilla.
Well, they're vanilla and they're light. Like you've got, because there's basically 4 armies in the codex, right? One for each of the chaos gods.
Yeah.
And each chaos god got 3 stratagems. This is not including the second one, where we got 4 more. So yes, it looks like there's 20 stratagems or whatever, but there's actually only like 4 that you can use.
Yeah.
Unless you, and I'd like to see them not punish you for going multi-gods in the chaos. Because right now, if your detachment isn't all one chaos god, then you don't get like any bonus. You lose your bonus, basically.
I'd like to see in these books, like, you know, the Blood Angels, the Marine books, like in the main Marine book, they have shared stratagems that they can use, and then they each have their own codex ones. I want them to be all different. Every book, like this chapter does this chapter does this.
Yeah, that's what they're.
But like not have a share, like there no shared ones at all.
There'll be some shared ones.
I don't think there is, because they've said that they get the main. In the first time, they didn't get the main book until later in 8th edition, right? So they had to copy some of those stratagems.
Yeah.
Now they already said from the beginning, 9th edition, Blood Angels, Death Watch, all those guys are going to get the main codex. And maybe Grey Knights, because they're like an outlier.
Yeah, they did get a codex last time though, so.
Yeah, but I mean, the main codex is going to have all this, like, everybody's going to have access to that. That's Marines, except for Grey Knights.
Yeah.
So then the Blood Angels one, why put doubles in there?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I just think they'll basically, I mean, there'll be a lot of them that are going to basically be the same thing, maybe with a different name.
Oh, yeah.
But it's still going to say basically the same thing.
Like, so. I think they should just, like, go into, like they can, this is how they can focus the armies to do different things. So they're not all just Marines. Like, focus the White Scars ones on melee, focus the Blood Angel ones on a combination of melee and shooting, focus the Salamander ones on shooting.
You know nothing about Blood Angels,
you
sir.
Yeah. Or White Scars.
Just, you know.
Anyway, I don't know. I hope that, I don't know. I hope that they get a better range of new stuff, like Troy's saying. I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm just exhausted on Marines. Like, it's hard for me to get excited
Necrons
about
are getting
Marines.
a fair amount of, like, you're getting some cool new models.
Necrons definitely got the business, like
Chronomancer.
the Chronomancer. So the thing I want to talk about the for Necrons is it looks like they're getting, like, what are the things where you go through these different things each turn? Doctrines.
Yes.
So they have like a variant of Doctrines that sounds really cool. They only released one, but it's called Uncanny Artificers. And it says each time a model with this code would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, you get it's got a 5 of feel no pain, which is fine. And each time a unit with this code is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 wound roll when making that unit's attacks. But that's one like thing. But they're treating the next part is if your whole army is this one like Zarikon, I guess is how you say it. If your whole army is that, you get both of the directives. So one of them is the directive is add 3 inches to the range of this unit's aura abilities, and increase the range of the following abilities this unit has by 3 inches. So like My Will Be Done and stuff like that. And then its second directive is it's eligible to fall back and shoot. So like that goes army wide if your whole army is like one thing. So it's kind of like a doctrine.
Yep.
And it just stays like that. Otherwise, you get one directive or the other directive, apparently, is kind of the way they're talking about it. They haven't released it all, but that's essentially what they're implying. So I think that is a really creative way to give other armies doctrines. That seems really cool. Let's see here. I can't find the Night King's model. He's got 2 Guardians, though. They're like 5 wounds apiece. And he's like 16 wounds, I think it was.
Oh, he is a unit.
And yeah, he's insane. He's still got an 8-inch move. They don't have all of his abilities, but I'm sure they're going to be bananas. But just the fact that he has like 2 guard, he's like a 26 wound model.
That you get to hide.
Yeah, that you can hide. Well, no, he's got 16 wounds.
No, you can hide behind obscuring terrain.
Oh, yeah.
18's though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he I don't know. He seems bananas to me. Unless they give him, the Tesseract Vault treatment and make him insanely expensive.
We'd have to look at the wording on that. Is it unit or model? Because the unit has like 20 ones.
I believe it's a model.
I think that would be the first instance of that actually coming up. I don't know of any other.
Where it'll come up, where you can't hide something. I think he'll be playable, even if he's 500 points, right?
No. Necrons are so expensive, dude.
It depends on
what he does.
Like, if they give him like Tesseract Vault powers or something, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be.
It doesn't. It's kind of silly to speculate on if you don't know what he does.
Yeah.
He looks sweet. That's all.
He does. He looks sweet, and he's got a really solid stat line.
Like generally, 500 points, most things aren't worth it, but you never know. He could be really good.
If he falls in the 350 range with the just sheer amount of wounds he has, and assuming he's going to have some sort of beefed up, I will be done because he's the king of the Necrons.
Yeah.
I'd say he'll be viable.
He's not going to suck, but he might be overcosted.
Yeah. Yeah, and GW definitely historically overcost Necrons. They've got like the new, they look like Canoptic Wraiths, but they're like destroyer dudes with blades on the top half.
Those are cool.
Those look super awesome. Like the whole Necron line, like looks wise right now, is just amazing. Like my wallet hurts thinking about all these new models. The Dragon Shard thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's probably my favorite looking model.
Have they spoiled the stats on it yet?
No.
Because that model came in a while. That thing is...
Yeah, that thing. But the shards are extremely hit and miss. I don't know. I really hope GW does justice to the Necrons like they've done Space Marines. Like I really hope that they're viable. If they are, I already have like so many Necrons.
It seems like they're moving that direction, especially trying to give them like doctrines.
Yeah, they
Maybe
just
do that for every army. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just moving extremely like melee oriented. Like there's a lot of Necrons with like hyperphase blades and stuff like that. And that's just not my style. Like I'm less excited about that.
But if you look at the codex, that's kind of what was missing. Like they're kind of balancing it out.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
already got a lot of good shooting.
Yeah, and the new upgraded Death Ray. Woo! Did you guys see what the Death Ray? Mm-hmm. So the Death Ray was D6 shots. Now it's D3 plus 3 shots.
Ooh.
And it was D6 damage, and it's D3 plus 3 damage now.
That's great. Love it.
D3 plus 3, so bare minimum 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which was the thing I bitched about the entire time I played Necrons. I was like, you know what? I hate D6 shots and D6 damage. I'm not playing orcs. And GW is like, let me fix that for you.
So let me ask you guys a question about the new codexes. Do you guys think it would be better that every army becomes more balanced where they can shoot or melee, or...
No.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a great question already. So...
No. I don't think
you don't want them to all be every army shouldn't be able to do both.
Yeah.
No, I think they should in a way. I don't think every army should be like fieldable as a you can field a balanced army like Marines, right? But I think you should have options either way. Now that's kind of complicated.
I think I see what you're saying. You don't want it to be unplayable in one or the other.
Like Blood Angels specialize in melee, right? But you could still
you can still shoot a little bit.
You can still put shooting on the table.
Yeah, but they're still Marines.
You can even go heavy shooting army. Okay, you're still Marines.
But if you went heavy shooting in Blood Angels, then why are you playing Blood Angels?
Exactly.
Just play the other.
Just play something else.
But you still could.
Like, I would much rather them, if it was like demons, for example, rather than give them a bunch of shit that could shoot, I would rather than give them like tricks where they could jump across the table.
Yeah.
Like the opening warp portals.
But when you you kind of can already, you can just summon demons there.
Yeah, I mean, I would just rather them lean into stuff like that than be like, let's make them shooty.
I guess my question is, would you rather, like, the demon's psychic phase is gross, would you rather that be toned down a hair so they can have better shooting or melee, or just,
definitely not,
or just ramp it up so they're just...
That's what I'm saying. I think they just need to, I just think they need to lean in.
Lean in, like, this army's melee, so just all in on this.
You kind of sign up for that when you sign up for demons. Like,
yeah.
Demons, they don't bring guns.
Yeah.
Like the one gun we have is just shooting flaming skulls across the map. It's not even a gun.
Yeah.
More of a catapult.
But yeah, this week, is a little bit shorter of an episode. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about on these Marine things?
I'm looking forward to the ATV.
I feel like we've talked a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to the ATV and the land speeders when they get here. I mean, they may be bad, but they look cool.
They do look cool.
I think
They're not going to be bad.
Yeah, I think the sleeper thing is the fortification thing.
The turret.
That might actually be nasty.
Yeah.
We'll have to see the full.
The little turret.
If they fix fortification rules. Right now, fortifications are super
I'm
bad.
getting so many models that, like, of all the new models that have been released, like the Eradicators found a home, and Devastators that weren't really played with Grav
Found a home.
are now being played with Grav, because apparently Grav used to be bad, but now it's insane.
It used to be bad. It's just.
I just want them to do Necrons justice. That's all. Like, I've got a knot in my stomach about them just their last Codex release was awful. I mean, it was really bad. Even and like I've got the Codex and I see the points they started at to where they ended at by increasing points across the line, and there's still like some models that are like 150 points down from where they started. Like,
but I think a lot of armies that way because they did that in 8th edition. They just lowered points as the game went on.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. I hope Necrons are good. It's hard to get excited about Marines when I haven't seen good Necron stuff spoiled.
And next week, all you AdMech fans that are worried about your army being on fire, it's okay. And we'll be back next week to tell you how.
He's currently digging it back out of the dumpster because he dumpstered it again.
He's actually been playing a lot of Deathwatch lately.
He has been playing a lot of Deathwatch.
Which I'm sure he's excited for the new Codex for Deathwatch. So.
Yeah. All right, well, my question of the week is, which one are you guys most excited about? What model, what codex, what do you want to see? Tell us something about the previews that got you hyped, because I'm curious to see what everybody else is into. Are you suffering from Space Marine fatigue like the rest of us? Per usual, Zach on Twitter, Mr. Fingerguns.
Yep.
Troy Viking Hard on. Chad B. McKenzie on everything. Mm-hmm. Mine will be in the description. It's easier that way. tacticalreserves@gmail.com. Tactical Reserves Facebook page. The YouTube link will be in there.
Tactical Reserve on Twitter.
Tactical Reserve on Twitter. All those links are in the episode description. And we'll be sure to get those pictures in the Discord. And see you guys next week.